Go.
You over here?
Yeah, that'd be great. And then senator, and this is governor, and then put the governor's right here. Yeah, it's already. We got it extra.
Okay. We changed that. Great to see you. We need it all together.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, everybody. What an exciting day. What a beautiful New Mexico weather. And as you all know why we're here, the biggest announcement in New Mexico in 40 years. That's why we're here today. Before we get started, there's some people in the audience that I'd like to recognize and thank for being here today. Representative Pamela Herndon. Senator Ivy Soto. Albuquerque City Councilor Tammy Feibelkorn. Vice Chair and Representative Meredith Dixon. Chair and Representative Nathan Small. Mr. Speaker, Javier Martinez. And I'd also like to recognize Rob Black from the New Mexico Chamber of Commerce. You know, it takes an entire team to pull an accomplishment like this project together. And before we get on to talking to the people that have helped do all this, I want to thank a few other people because it does take an entire team. And I want to start from the Public Service Company of New Mexico, Alicia Saavedra Torres. Over the 12 years with the department, I've worked a lot of projects with Alicia and P&M, and she's a rock star. And thank you for all of your efforts in getting this project to the finish line. Bernalillo County. Of course, all of Bernalillo County, but I specifically want to mention Marcos Gonzalez. "12 years ago when I started with the department, Marcos was a colleague heading up our finance team. And he's now doing a wonderful job for Bernalillo County as the head of their economic development. The entire team from the city of Albuquerque, and it's a lot of them. It really is. But there's two people that I want to mention specifically. One of them's not here today, but Max Grinner, the director of economic development for the city of Albuquerque. And here today, Monica Mitchell. Here's a guy that's been with the city of Albuquerque for a lot of time, but we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Lawrence Real. Yeah. Thank you, Lawrence. One of the first questions that I get asked by virtually any project that we work with, it's even before they start talking about money, it's before they start talking about incentives, they want to know about workforce. Do you have the people to fill the jobs that I want to fill? It's a hard question for a lot of people, but not for us, because it's simple. We just point to CNM and UNM, and they make the answer for us. So I want to make time to specifically thank two individuals, Samantha Senegal from CNM, and Dean Riley from the UNM Department of Engineering. Their efforts in helping us show Maxeon that we have the talent and we have the talent pipeline to complete this dream were immensely important to the success of this project. Thank you so much. Partnership, the New Mexico Partnership. I want to thank Melinda Allen. They're always willing to pitch in and help along the way. But of course, as you'll hear me talk about leadership, it doesn't go without great leadership. So, Chairwoman Pat Vincent Colon. That's her part-time job with the New Mexico Partnership. She really is the CEO of P&M also. I would also like to thank Vice Chair Debbie Johnson with us today, too. Thank you very much. And of course, my team. They do all the work, and they let me take all the credit. Here today representing my team, Nora Sackett. And of course, as I've mentioned, it takes a team, but it also takes great leadership. And now we're going to turn our attention to the leaders that have made this happen. We're going to start with the gentleman that doesn't need an introduction here, but I'll do it anyway. Mayor Tim Keller, born and raised right here in Albuquerque. His focus has been on making a more safe and inclusive city. In his second term as Albuquerque's 31st mayor, he deeply believes in the power we all have to lift our city despite the challenges. So bringing one of the largest solar manufacturing complexes in the country to Albuquerque makes sense in a lot of ways. Under the mayor's leadership, the city of Albuquerque has ranked top 4 in the United States for the most installed solar per capita. Won a federal grant to bring the first electric buses to the city of Albuquerque. Signed the Paris Agreement, committing to climate action. Installed solar projects at 38 city-owned facilities, expanded the electrical vehicle charging station network, launched the Mayor's Energy Challenge, made the transition to more sustainable LED streetlights, provided over 200 homes with free energy audits and upgrades in partnership with P&M and Prosperity Works, purchased the first electric vehicles for the city fleet, and committed the city to replacing gas-powered vehicles with electric vehicles whenever possible. It's my honor to introduce Mayor Tim Keller.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. And this is a great day. Look, obviously for New Mexicans, but also the Burqueños in the house. This is awesome. That's right. So I think I want to begin by just taking us a little bit back to this concept of this place that we're in. And look, in this place, in this city, we believe in the promise that this is something special, that we live in a special place. And I think we all feel this in different ways. It could be because of the scenery, it could be because of the culture. But we also know that this promise of Albuquerque is something that we continue every day to try and fulfill. I know that's probably my biggest challenge in this role. And there's some old sort of economic development theses that have been around on this that I have blatantly copied in every campaign that I've run. Most of them came from Dale Decker. But, you know, this idea that we should be a solar capital, right? And you heard in that wonderful introduction, you know, we try in Albuquerque to do that. And we do that mostly, though, on the consumption end, right? And all those things that he mentioned. And even look, we're 92% solar powered as a city. And we're trying to get to 100. I think we're second in that list. But every one of those panels, right, is made somewhere else. And so when we really think about what it means to fulfill that promise, but also to be a solar capital, it collides with another thesis that has been around for a long time too. And it's this idea of reshoring, this idea that actually New Mexico is ideally situated for companies that are trying to come back to America or trying to expand into America. And again, this thesis also, way before me. I remember when I was chairman of the Economic Development Subcommittee and whatever, like 15 years ago, and saying this was a new idea. I wasn't even new then. Because it's grounded in who we are. It has to do with our crossroads. We're the city at the crossroads, right? That means the Big I, that means the airport, that means intermodal transport, that means the crossroads of rail just south of here in Berlin. But it also means our resilience, the fact that we're disaster resistant, right? And that we're actually, even climate-wise, even though it's been hot, it's hard to do business when you use water and you live in Phoenix, right? Because that water evaporates and is more expensive. So all of those things come together in this project. And that's, I think, what makes this so special. Because for us, this really is delivering in a way on that old thesis, but for real, right? For real. Over $1 billion of investment, over 1,000 jobs, right? This is the largest announcement, more or less, since Intel. We can have a good debate on that one. And it will transform Albuquerque and New Mexico. So this is a massive, powerful example, I think, of that promise. And it's taken leadership at all levels to make this happen. So I appreciate Mark has thanked a lot of the key people, but I also want to mention, look, it's not lost, I think, on any of us. The president was here 2 days ago talking about the reshoring thesis. So you know what else it took actually to fulfill this promise? It did take the White House. It did take our US Senator. It did take our Congresswoman. Because the Inflation Reduction Act, and Dan will tell you this for Maxeon, right? That is giving incentives to make this happen. And so that's actually what the president and I personally talked about. This is the first major clean tech reshoring project for the Inflation Reduction Act in America. And it's right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I'm just going to wrap up by highlighting what it takes to deliver on this promise. And I will tell you, it took the President of the United States. It took Congress to do what they had to do with that package. But it also takes a governor who, I tell you, this is not her first rodeo with big economic development projects. She is building New Mexico in a way that we haven't seen in a long time and had a major role in all of this project. And of course, her team. So Mark, does the introductions. This guy delivered big time on this project, on all the details. So Mark and the governor, for your team, thank you for helping us deliver on that promise. And look, our city team, we named them, but whether it's Lawrence or whether it's the economic development team that's putting in a couple of million in LIDA and some good IRBs. And the first thing Dan asked me for, I said, what do you need from the city? He's like, concierge in the planning department. So listen, I think everyone in this community knows, Alan Varela I don't think is here, but Alan Varela was the tip of the spear on us closing this deal. So let's give him a round of applause in the planning department. And then of course our partners at Bernalillo County and also at the Water Authority. I will tell you some amazing work. Mark could not be here, but for the Water Authority, and I know the company Maxeon knows this, let's give them a round of applause. They were absolutely critical in this. All right, and my last two, I do want to thank Maxeon. They came and they said they wanted to announce moving here in 60 days, and I almost walked out of the room. Because how many times have we heard this kind of, idle chatter when they come and try and pitch, we want to come to your town in 60 days, and then we never see them again. So Maxeon, thank you for believing in us, but also thank you for your speed and your professionalism. They are a publicly traded company, and they delivered on this in a way we have never seen in deals that have come to us. Thank you, Maxeon. All right, and lastly, look, Mesa del Sol. If you don't know where Mesa del Sol is, first I want to remind you it's in the city of Albuquerque. But Steve Chavez and his crew, people tell me, what is the future of Albuquerque? Literally, my kids, how old they are. By the time they're in high school, this place is going to be as big as Rio Rancho. I think now with this company and with Netflix, we're looking at anywhere between 1/6 and 1/5 of the entire city being here. And that is a great thing because it's a planned community, it's a smart community, it's protected by the tax increment district that we passed like 15 years ago. So even our state leaders had a hand in that. And so this is the outcome of a vision of a lot of people who actually thought about Mesa del Sol, and also, of course, Steve Chavez, who's at the helm of it now. So, Steve, I want to thank you and everyone for helping us deliver on the promise of Albuquerque. But today, because of what I shared with you about even the president's work, also delivering on the promise of American manufacturing jobs, clean energy, right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. So as we mentioned, leadership, and we've mentioned it at the local level. Now I'm going to turn my focus to the federal level. Senator Ben Ray Lujan really represents the heart of New Mexico. He, like me, is a norteño, born in northern New Mexico in Pewaukee, and comes from a family of public service. While a member of the Public Regulation Commission, he helped increase the renewable energy standard right here in New Mexico for public utilities, encouraging more use of wind, solar, and biomass. He has also been a strong advocate for job training and increasing opportunities for those who come from rural communities, true to his heart, and unable to attend traditional college. There are those opportunities here, and it's my honor. Senator Ben Ray Lujan.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good to be with you. Steve, the coffee must not be strong today, brother. Well, I'll tell. The governor always has energy, so coffee not needed. But nonetheless, I mean, just take a second, just look around. Take a look out those windows one more time, please. Mesa del Sol. I mean, some of you in this room were part of this vision once upon a time when there were a lot of non-believers. And driving in today, seeing what's happening before I arrived in this parking lot, just up the road at the studios, another $1 billion there. More affordable housing as I'm driving through here, more there. Saw some friends working out in the gym. I didn't get a chance to go to the grocery store yet, but I will. It's just incredible. And to see this expansion grow and grow and grow, this is exciting. And then to hear more and more about the leaders in the room that made this possible, that brought this vision to fruition with Maxeon coming in. I did not know about the 60-day thing. Good thing you didn't walk out of that room, man. This is quite incredible. The number of jobs that we're going to see here. 1,800 jobs is what I've been told. Clap, that's good. And to be the first in the United States of America with onshoring, reshoring, taking advantage of a law that was not given much hope in getting to the president for signature. It was a year ago this week that the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act took place. Coming to then to now with the first major announcement in the country that benefited not just from incentives, but from investment is quite incredible. It was an honor to be on the team working on this. Our senior senator, Martin Heinrich, Representative Melanie Stansberry, Teresa Leger Fernandez, and Gabe Vasquez, everyone working together to push to make something possible. All while we're working with Mayor Keller, with Governor Lujan Grisham, our brothers and sisters in the state legislature, the county, the city, business leaders. That's how things happen. And I'm just here to say congratulations. It's quite an honor to be with you. I appreciate Mr. Guzman and Mr. Chavez for the invitation. We were chatting at a gathering for the President of the United States. That's kind of fun to say, right? we were just kind of sitting at a table at a gathering with the President of the United States. And they mentioned that it would be great to be able to come and help celebrate. This is the first of many. It's been an incredible few years in the state of New Mexico. It's been a fabulous summer. And with this announcement coming on the back of a president's visit with the opening of another facility building wind turbines, and now we're going to see more and more solar being produced, and the comparison to where we were just 4 decades ago, when a few people got together, as Terry was reminding me, 15 with a shovel, threw over some sand, and we've seen what Intel did in creating opportunity in our state. Remember that day, and remember today. Congratulations on what you all have done and achieved, and it's a good day for New Mexico, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Senator. He's got a really busy schedule, so if you see him sneak out, he's got other things to do. Thank you so much for being here today. Bernalillo County is a key partner in this, and since 2015, Julie Morgus-Baca has served as the Bernalillo County Manager, the Chief Executive Officer of the state's largest county by population. Let's make sure we understand what we mean by largest. Prior to serving as county manager, she was president and CEO of the National Hispanic Cultural Center Foundation. She's community-minded. She's a leader who is always willing to lend a hand and collaborate in meaningful ways that make a difference. And as you will hear, this project is all about collaboration. And the county's commitment to that is helping make this project happen. And again, it is my honor to introduce County Manager Julia Morgus-Baca.
It's really an honor to be here. And, talk about power, I feel it in this room, and leadership and strength and collaboration. So I'm really humbled to be here speaking before you. So on behalf of Bernalillo County and the Board of County Commissioners, it's truly my privilege to be here to celebrate of Maxeon Solar Technologies to our community at Mesa del Sol. So welcome. We're so excited for you to be here. When we think of Mesa del Sol, one might be tempted to think of Netflix, like Live Nation, the film industry, a business visualizing dreams. But however, Maxeon Solar Technology demonstrates this area is prime for diverse investment. With each and every addition, more job opportunities for our community mean more dreams actualized for our families, for clean energy professionals, and for generations to come. So we're moving forward, not backwards. It's our day, it's our time. We're finally here, and again, thanks to all the leadership, thank you, Governor, and all the partners that we have here. For these reasons, Bernalillo County will continue to invest infrastructure to make Mesa del Sol a top-tier place to do our business. So Bernalillo County allocated actually $12 million for the development of public infrastructure and recreational spaces at Mesa del Sol. And I don't know if you all have noticed the beautiful fields as you pass and you get here. That's the county, that's our partnership with the youth. That's what we do, right? We try our best to make things better for our community, and it's well worth it. So I hope that when you pass by again, it'll look even greener, and there'll be more fields. Governor. No, she's helped us a lot. She really has. And I hope I didn't get in trouble. So we've also provided $2 million of Federal American Rescue Plan. That's our ARPA money for funding for clean water conservation and regional and at the regional recreational complex. So it's really beautiful. If you have a chance, take a look. And then of course you see that United is there, another good partner of our community and of Bernalillo County. So Bernalillo County believes in development of Mesa del Sol. Steve Chavez and I have had tons of conversations, and we were even talking about all the things that he still wants to do And it's exhausting, but it's awesome and it's beautiful and it's just, like I say, forward moving. So it's just not, it doesn't just benefit Bernalillo County, but the entire state, our entire state of New Mexico. Improvements such as these pave the way for an equipped and vibrant community and is poised to welcome businesses such as Maxeon Solar Technologies. So again, welcome, welcome Maxeon Solar Technologies to Bernalillo County, to the city of Albuquerque, and I look forward to seeing future build out, bringing more opportunities to the community of Mesa del Sol and Bernalillo County. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Julie. Well, the star of private sector is shining brightly in New Mexico, and that's thanks to Maxeon. Dr. Bill Mulligan is the CEO of Maxeon Solar Technologies. Dr. Mulligan has an impressive career of nearly 30 years here in the solar industry. Speaking of not his first rodeo. Dr. Mulligan holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in history, a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry from the University of Washington, a Master of Science in Chemical Engineering from the University of Michigan, and a PhD in Material Science from our friends up north, the Colorado School of Mines. Maxeon is a global leader in the solar innovation and panel technology manufacturing, and it's no accident, it's out of the leadership of Dr. Bill Mulligan. Today, he is here to announce that Maxeon has chosen Albuquerque, New Mexico, as the location for their first United States solar manufacturing facility. I can't tell you what an honor it is to introduce Dr. Bill Mulligan.
All right, well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here to celebrate selection of our solar factory here in New Mexico. I'm not as well spoken as some of these other folks. I'm just an engineer, but I do know how to make solar panels. So I am so proud to announce this project. It's important for our company, but really also so important for New Mexico, our country, and frankly, the planet. I have many people to thank, but let's start with the governor. We've been conducting a nationwide search for well over a year, and we actually discovered this New Mexico site very late in the game. And as you heard, we were trying to close this in 60 days. And Governor Lujan Grisham's leadership and help has really helped facilitate this sort of whirlwind courtship that leads us to be here today and make this a success, and we're able to announce today. So let's give her another hand. There's also many other people and organizations that have helped make this possible: the state of New Mexico, Bernalillo County, the city of Albuquerque, local utilities, and other partners and friends who have been deeply engaged and supportive every step of the way in the site evaluation. So thank you all. They have worked extremely hard to create sort of ideal business conditions for Maxeon. In particular, I'd like to thank Mayor Tim Keller. Also like to thank Steve Chavez, our host here today. He's done amazing things for us, and including let us using some of his facilities here. I'd like to thank Mark Roper from EDD. Thank you, Mark. Lawrence Real and Mark Bruner from the city. Councilor Pat Davis, Mark Sanchez from the Water Authority. Maxeon operates around the world, but our heritage here is here in the USA. We were founded 38 years ago in Silicon Valley, and we still have a large R&D operation there. And we have a long track record of developing and producing the world's highest efficiency solar cells. So we're a technology company first and foremost, and that has been the key to our success. We're now going to invest over $1 billion here at this new facility. This will create over 1,800 high-paying engineering and manufacturing jobs. These are really good jobs. It will create a lot of economic activity here in New Mexico as a result. The state's Economic Development Department estimates a total impact of over $4 billion over the next 10 years. We chose New Mexico because of the outstanding characteristics and infrastructure available at this site, but also because of the extremely welcoming business community and also the outstanding workforce here. I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been to work here in New Mexico. It really feels like a family. You folks have all been so welcoming and so supportive. And then another key factor for us is really New Mexico's commitment to the renewable energy transition. This is so important for the country, our world, and I know there's just so many great supporters here that are so passionate about that. So that was a key factor. We plan to begin construction early next year. Before long, there will be buildings going up a few hundred yards from here, and we'll soon begin hiring people to help with construction and to begin the startup of the factory. By the end of 2025, we should have completed modules starting to roll out of the factory. So let me explain a little bit about our product. Solar cells are the fundamental devices that convert sunlight. They're about this big. They convert sunlight into electricity directly with no moving parts. They're really amazing devices. There is currently no solar cell manufacturing here in the United States. For the most part, it's all made in Asia today. So it's a big deal that we're coming back here, reshoring this technology. Solar cells are then assembled and fabricated into solar panels like the one you see right there today. They are then deployed in fields, ground-mount arrays that you'll see sometimes driving around, the big solar fields, but also on rooftops. So the product that we'll make here can serve both applications. This kind of solar manufacturing would not occur without the right supportive public policies. It's the result of the political leadership at the federal level that we've talked about, from the president, from the New Mexico congressional delegation in passing the Inflation Reduction Act. Would not have happened without that. So the United States is now poised to reshore solar technology and a domestic solar supply chain. This will enhance our energy security and create many new well-paying manufacturing jobs. Maxeon is so proud to be a part of these forward-thinking climate policies. Maxeon intends to become an outstanding corporate citizen, a neighbor, an employer, and a constituent. We will deliver exceptional American-made products to American customers, and we will power positive change in New Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. As we saw in President Biden's visit to the state earlier this week, Senator Michael Padilla is getting recognized as a leader who helped bring free meals to K-12 students in the state of New Mexico. But here in his home district, what he's really known for is Senator Michael Padilla's annual job fair. More than 3,000 job seekers turned out last June for the Senator's 11th annual job fair. That's an impressive number, Senator. Every year he hosts employers and invites workers seeking positions here in the greater Albuquerque area. Well, Senator, I've got some news for you. We got some new work for you to do now. 1,800 jobs coming to your district, where New Mexico residents can train, learn new skills, and work close to home, right in your neighborhood. It's my honor, Senator Michael Padilla.
Yeah. Wow, check it out, everybody. Here we are. I have to say, I've been in many of the meetings to get this project done. We are now bringing manufacturing back to New Mexico manufacturing. Isn't that a great thing for our state? I think I'll add one word, and I want to add that word because I typically call him Steve Innovative Chavez. So thank you, Steve, for bringing not just manufacturing, but innovative manufacturing back to New Mexico. Thank you. Also, just over the moon excited that our governor, every single time she was called on for this project, dropped everything, made it all happen, works around the clock, 24/7, and we just need to thank her as well. Thank you, Governor. And, a mayor who just, we were literally meeting in that room right there, I don't know how many times, and every time, right on the spot, would be right there to extol the virtues of Albuquerque and the wonderful things that are going on here. So I could just, I know you want to hear from the super rock star, super international sensation, our governor, so I'll be really, really brief, but I just want to thank absolutely everybody that helped to make this thing happen. I will say that job fair that I do every year is a gigantic headache for me and my family. And when you start doing something, you got to kind of keep doing it. And it's gotten bigger and bigger every year. And in a couple of the discussions that I've had with Maxeon, we will have 15 job fairs if we need to. Because I want you to know, Dr. Mulligan and team, you have an excellent team, by the way. I've met many of them, and we met different times and this and that. You have a tremendous amount of on-the-ground support. My office is literally just located down the hall from here, my actual business office. And I will be on the ground here morning, noon, and night to tell people how wonderful you are, because we just love you to death, and also how wonderful New Mexico is. And I just also want to thank everybody. We didn't kind of call everybody out, but I will say that many of my colleagues here in New Mexico rolled up their sleeves to help make this thing happen. This wasn't just a couple of people, let me tell you. Well, I got to sit in the meetings and learn about the project and this and that. A ton of people rolled their sleeves up to make this happen. So when you say, Dr. Mulligan, we're a family, we are a huge family here in New Mexico. Where can you go on the planet, have a governor, a U.S. senator, a mayor, a state senator, all the legislative leadership, chairs, our member of Congress, every single bit of the leadership that's going to help this project succeed. And I promise you, I will be here to football, and let's see, cornerback, there we go, to football it, because we're literally going to be able to throw a football from that deck to your building. So we will have a ton of on-the-ground leadership to continue to make this happen. And thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for selecting New Mexico for your project. This is really amazing. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Senator. If there has been a strong clarion voice coming from Washington, D.C. about the need to do more about climate change, that voice is coming from Representative, our Congress lady, Melanie Stansberry. As a U.S. representative from New Mexico's 1st Congressional District, she was born in Farmington and raised right here in Albuquerque. Her first job was an ecology instructor. I'll spit it out, I promise. Before heading to Washington, where she worked for the Council of Environmental Quality and as a Senate staffer on the Energy and Natural Resources Committee. Since serving in Congress, Congresswoman Stansberry has become a recognized policy leader in the area of climate, a voice for a younger generation of lawmakers whose children will really feel the impact of today's policies as we move towards stopping climate change. Again, I've said it many times, but it is my honor to introduce Congressman Stansberry.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, the coffee kicked in. All right, well, I want to thank you all for being here this morning. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Obviously, we are in a room full of leaders, and I think it goes without saying, this is a BFD. As a New Mexican, as somebody who was born and raised in this state, that grew up right here in this community, I have to say that this has truly been one of my most proudest weeks. This week we welcomed the president here to kick off the refurbishing of one of the largest wind turbine manufacturing facilities in the United States. Here in this room today, we are reshoring the very first solar cell manufacturer in the United States. And in the coming months, we are going to be kicking off the single largest wind project in North America right there across the mountains. And so when we say New Mexico is leading the way, New Mexico is truly leading the way. And when we acknowledge all of the leadership that it took to get here, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the leadership of our governor in particular, because not only did she make it possible through EDD and her own personal leadership, which I get to witness on a daily basis and humbly try to walk in her high-heeled boots in every single day as the former congresswoman, I can tell you unequivocally that Michelle Lujan Grisham's climate leadership is not only known in New Mexico, across the United States, but across the world. And that is because on the first week that she took office, her third executive order was actually signing into law an executive order to put New Mexico on a net zero path for climate resilience. She then went on to help pass the Energy Transition Act, which put into place the statutory framework to make it possible. And then I had the incredible opportunity to work with her in 2020 to get one of the most progressive grid modernization bills in the United States passed through the state legislature. Through her tireless work through executive action, legislative action, helping to support business deals like this, supporting state, local, and tribal governments, New Mexico is literally transforming the clean energy landscape, literally. So I am so deeply proud of New Mexico, of our leadership, of all of the incredible people in this room. And as was mentioned, as your congresswoman, as a New Mexican, as a science nerd that has worked on water and climate energy policy my entire career, to be able to stand here today and to celebrate this immense accomplishment. And as has already been mentioned, none of this would have been possible without the historic leadership of President Biden in passing 1 year ago the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, I want to just take a moment to help you all understand how significant the Inflation Reduction Act. This bill took a gargantuan effort to get through the United States Senate. Of course, many of us watched on pins and needles in the final days as the deal was put together. But when that bill passed, it represented not only the single largest investment in climate action and clean energy ever in the history of the United States, but by any country ever in the history of the world. It is the legislation that is going to make good on our responsibilities as a nation to the world and helping to save our planet. It is the legislation that is going to invest in domestic manufacturing. It is the legislation that's going to transform the grid. It is the legislation that's going to invest in our infrastructure. It is the legislation that's going to invest in our transportation. And it is the legislation that is going to spend billions of dollars in every single community across New Mexico to ensure that our people are able to live resiliently here in our state to maintain our cultures, our places, and our ways of life for generations to come. But none of that is possible if we don't actually implement the projects in the bill, right? And that's why this particular project is so significant. Because if we are going to actually reduce our carbon footprint and avoid the climate crisis's most extreme manifestations, we've got to work quickly. In this case, 60 days quickly. And what I think is also so incredibly significant. If you're not already wowed and persuaded about the extraordinary effort and alignment of leadership that it took to get this effort off the ground, I want to impress upon you how significant this is for New Mexico and our economy. Right before I came out here, Steve mentioned this to me, that this is the largest manufacturing facility ever in the history of New Mexico, ever recruited to New Mexico, larger even than Intel. This is the largest manufacturing deal in New Mexican history. We're talking over 1,000 new jobs in our community. We're talking about the nation of Albuquerque. We're talking about a facility that's going to manufacture 8 million solar panels a year and send them all over the United States. And we're talking about that happening right here in Albuquerque, built right behind you. So when we say New Mexico is leading the way, we are leading the way. We are bringing the clean energy economy. We are bringing the clean energy jobs, and it is happening because of all of you in this room. It is happening because of the leadership of Senator Lujan. It is happening because of the leadership of President Biden. It is happening because we have one of the most badass governors in the United States. So, we are New Mexicans. We have a hell of a lot of grit, determination, and heart. And that's why we get things like this done. And I think without further ado, there's nothing more that I can say that this amazing woman behind me can't say better. So I just want to say congratulations to everyone who put this deal together. This is truly a historic day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Since taking office in 2019, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham has focused like a laser on creating higher paying jobs and diversifying New Mexico's economy. This means making New Mexico into a place where businesses want to come for a skilled workforce, better opportunities, and to create career opportunities for New Mexicans. These efforts are paying off. You know, manufacturing jobs before this deal, have grown 5.8% in New Mexico during the governor's administration. That's 3 times faster than the national average of 1.5%. Wait until we calculate in Maxeon. She identified sustainable and green energy as a target industry for more state investment and recruitment. She supported the Energy Transition Act and has directed all of state government to work together to heal the environment and reduce global warming. And I will talk a little bit more about how that's happened. As the governor has expanded tuition-free college for every New Mexican, so we can provide a company like Maxeon with a quality workforce that will not be overburdened by debt. The program not only covers 4-year degree students that we'll get to meet Dean Riley, but it also covers technical training programs that we'll produce at CNM. This is a great tool we now all have, and it's all thanks to the common theme here, great leadership. It's great leadership from Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, her commitment to lifting all New Mexicans to a better place. She's worked hard for the last 5 years. She's got 3 more years of hard work to do, but today does feel like a culmination of all that hard work. It is absolutely my honor to work for her and to introduce the governor of the great state of New Mexico, Michelle Lujan Grisham.
Very nice.
Please sit down. Although I do want you on your feet later for the entire day and the weekend. There's nothing left for me to say. You did that on purpose. But maybe I can do just a couple of things. I'm going to do sort of an old story. I want to recognize another group, leader, and team and just sort of remind ourselves that New Mexicans are incredibly proud. We're a bit fierce. But we can find ourselves as narrow thinkers. It can't happen here. We have, sometimes we joke, and we probably shouldn't, about ourselves. If it can happen anywhere, well, it can't happen in New Mexico. And that has never been true. It's been someone said that in a weak or dark moment during maybe the recession and before. Every state, every place around the globe has had a situation where it's tougher, where they haven't had everything that they need, and it isn't a secret, Dr. Mulligan, that this is a state that has had historic generational poverty. Fact, for a whole lot of reasons that are beyond this press conference today. But it can sometimes create an atmosphere or an environment where we forget about who we are and what we can do. And on the outside looking in, as evidenced by today, people can see the transformation not only in our will and attitudes, but by the culmination of leadership at every single level. The second thing that states have a tendency to do is the private sector is ready to go and the public sector isn't. The public sector is running full force forward and hasn't really engaged the private sector. Local government has one set of ideas and plans, and the state government has something altogether different. And that's before I talk about every unique district in the legislature where we're trying to figure out a way to sustain and support an entire state. So I really want us to take hold, because I wonder if the mayor, and he is an incredible partner, we are all really good partners. When I was running in 2018, we were working on our economic development messages, and I said at least 9 sectors, which all of them, by the way, beat all the national averages for increasing in economic activity, job growth, and employment. Every single one of those sectors. And now, intelligent manufacturing, as everyone said, is going to make that even better. I mean, what I do is just get in the car and start calling the other governors to make them jealous, because that's the best part of my job. It really is. But Mayor Keller said, you know, you need to pick one thing. Do you remember that? We were having lunch downtown. And he said, you know, I'm with you, I'm supporting you, I'm so excited, but pick one thing. And many other economic development leaders in this room said the same. Not wrong. You know, be good at one thing always, because it leads to other good things always. But I might be little, but I like overachieving. Pick everything. This is a state that can do anything. Frankly, if it's happened and it's good and it's high tech and it's smart, it happened here first and then someone stole it. So that is who we are. It's who we've always been, but it does take the culmination of incredible leadership. And you heard about the Energy Transition Act. You have to set the renewable energy standards. You have to message to developers and planners and to legislators and to their communities and to the business sector, not only what our expectations are around climate change, but how that translates into jobs. And there's not a single legislator here today who won't tell you that in the debate, and it was hard in the Energy Transition Act, that it was going to have a chilling effect on jobs because it creates requirements, not the reverse. And yet our economy says exactly the opposite. And you already heard about the tax credits and the Grid Modernization Act, and that we're the 8th best place for solar, and we're the cheapest place in America for solar. We're the first state to really grasp, Mr. Speaker, that's a lot of your leadership, community solar designs, getting people in communities completely off the grid. Well, you can't really sustain it unless the business community is right with you. It really is a demonstration of incredible leadership. And I want to point to another set of policies, and the Congresswoman's exactly right. It's not just that Congress did this. We have a climate change leader. Congresswoman Stansberry did this. And the Senate made sure it didn't fall apart in the Senate. This little state sets a mark, and it shifts the entire country. And we forget, I think, I don't, that that's the power we have, 2 million strong, really strong. And Maxeon, I think, in large part, not only for all of the energy work that we're doing, clarity of purpose in terms of climate change. So the last part of that story is a dinner. And when you recruit employees and when you move operations or begin anew, what do you offer families? What is the set of vehicles to signal to them that this is the best place in America to live? And we all know there are things we still have to do. No job is ever done. But cradle to career, educational investments, constitutional right to childcare, universal early childhood education, moonshot investments, coaching, literacy institutes, reading, the science of reading, STEM investments all over the state, and the country's most robust free college program anywhere, by far, 2-year, 4-year, part-time, full-time. And while all of our higher education efforts are incredible, let's not forget that engineering schools, New Mexico Tech was just named in its size class and its tech work the best in the country. Again. Those policies drive businesses to want to be in a state like this. And when we do these economic development efforts, we rarely focus on the environment department because usually they're mad at you. Am I wrong? And look, Jim Kenney, Secretary of the New Mexico Environment Department, just flew in because we're a finalist, we believe, in the Hydrogen Hub Awards. And those awards could be $1 billion, and then it's tens of billions or more over a decade plus. More companies are already calling. This $1 billion investment goes to $10 billion at least. These are all the things narrowly that we identify. You don't really identify or expose the breadth of other economic activity. They do not. And the vision of Steve Chavis and everyone here today about what we're building is a real future for this state, for economic activity and jobs for all of our children and grandchildren. But make no mistake, the Environment Department was a key player in getting this done. And I would like to thank Secretary Kenney and ask you to do the same. And so I'll end with this. In 2018, when Mayor Keller and I were talking about what we would like to see for New Mexico based on all the input, ideas, strategies, and hard work that the men and women here today have long been known for working through and making incredible achievements. But if we do it together, they go from sort of a micro achievement to bigger, gargantuan macro efforts. And unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember the groundbreaking at Intel and all the housing development and the excitement in New Mexico about that. This is as big or bigger. And even the enhancements in economic activity in Intel are all about the re-recognition that New Mexico is moving faster and further, lifting our families out of poverty and creating serious and significant economic growth in this state in the kinds of numbers we haven't been able to talk about. So one last time, in more than 40 years. And so before you clap again, the last thing, it takes everyone rowing together. And it's really easy to be mad at the Water Utility Authority or the county or the city or the state or the legislature or the feds, and we just don't do that here. We work through any of those issues and pull it together. So I am incredibly proud because I've seen these efforts building over the last 5 years, and I get to say thank you to the men and women in the room who never stopped believing and have always seen the possibility and the future for this great state. Maxeon, welcome to New Mexico. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
To all of us.
Thank you, Governor.